Alexander Drake lived in a Manhattan skyscraper that seemed to scrape the clouds themselves. From the outside, his life was the embodiment of perfection, wealth, influence, and control over everything he touched. Yet inside, the penthouse was silent in a way that money could never fix. His schedule, rigid and precise, left little room for human connection, and those who worked closely with him had long since learned to navigate his temper and exacting standards. Among them was Maria, a maid who had been with the Drake family for over 10 years. She knew the mansion as intimately as she knew her own hands, understanding every routine, every habit, and every unspoken need. One morning, Alexander's impatience reached a breaking point. A minor mistake, one that Maria had never repeated before, sparked an outburst. "Maria, I'm letting you go," he said, his tone cold and final. Silence filled the room as Maria packed her belongings. 10 years of loyalty, countless late nights, countless small acts of care, gone in an instant. She stepped out into the bustling streets of Manhattan with only a small suitcase and a heart full of uncertainty. The first weeks were exhausting. Jobs were scarce, rent was high, and every opportunity seemed to vanish as quickly as it appeared. Yet Maria refused to give in to despair. One afternoon, she wandered into a quiet part of the city and noticed a small cafe tucked between two office buildings. The sign above read, "Sunrise Cafe." Inside, Thomas, a middle-aged man struggling to keep the cafe afloat, welcomed her help. Maria offered to assist with cleaning, thinking it might be temporary, a small way to earn money. While organizing and scrubbing, Maria began experimenting in the cafe's small kitchen. She discovered a remarkable talent. She could craft desserts that were not only delicious, but visually stunning, each one showing care, creativity, and skill. Word spread quickly. People came for the pastries but stayed for Maria herself. The warmth in her presence, the patience with staff and customers, and the kindness that radiated naturally. Within weeks, the cafe became a local favorite. Meanwhile, Alexander faced troubles of his own. A high-stakes investment had failed, leaving him exposed in a way he hadn't experienced before. Advisors questioned his judgment, and the mansion, once a symbol of control and power, now echoed with emptiness. His social circle had grown distant. Friends and associates avoided the growing tension and whispered rumors of instability. Alone in his office, he realized that wealth could not fill the void he felt. Something essential, human connection, empathy, genuine engagement, was missing from his life. One evening, during a rare moment of aimless wandering, Alexander found himself outside Sunrise Cafe. Drawn in by curiosity, he entered and observed quietly. The room was alive with chatter, laughter, and the comforting aroma of fresh-baked goods. Maria worked behind the counter, effortlessly balancing multiple tasks while greeting each customer with a smile. A young barista struggled with latte art, and Maria patiently guided him. A teenager learning the ropes of the kitchen received careful instruction on proper pastry techniques. An elderly regular was offered a free slice of cake, simply because she remembered he came in alone. Alexander was struck by the contrast. Here was a life of impact and respect, built on skill, patience, and kindness, a success that no amount of money could purchase. He watched as the cafe became a hub for the community, a place of connection and care. The realization was humbling. All the wealth he controlled could never create what Maria had built naturally through her diligence and generosity. Alexander returned to the cafe more frequently, first as a quiet observer, then as a regular customer. Each visit revealed new layers of Maria's world. He saw how she mentored young employees, encouraging them to develop their own skills, and how she transformed the small kitchen into a stage for creativity. On a particularly busy morning, a food critic from a popular magazine arrived unexpectedly. Maria handled the pressure effortlessly, producing a series of desserts that impressed even the most discerning palate. The critic's glowing review later brought in a wave of new customers, and the cafe's reputation grew far beyond the neighborhood. During this time, Alexander began reflecting on his own life. Meetings with his legal team and financial advisors offered no comfort. Decisions he had made in haste, without empathy, had left his empire vulnerable. The luxurious mansion he had once loved now felt empty, a place for things and not people. He realized that no amount of wealth could replace genuine connection or the sense of purpose that Maria's work exuded. Meanwhile, Maria faced her own challenges. Success brought pressure, long hours, and new responsibilities. She hired a small team of assistants, including a young pastry chef named Javier, who reminded her of herself when she first started. She trained him patiently, sharing not only recipes but also lessons on resilience, ethics, and how to treat customers with respect. She also helped Thomas, the cafe owner, develop better management strategies, turning the struggling business into a sustainable operation. Despite the long hours, Maria found satisfaction in watching the team grow and the cafe thrive. Alexander's presence, initially silent and cautious, slowly became more involved. Maria, aware of his mistakes but focused on her own goals, allowed him to assist in small ways, managing supply orders, reaching out to potential investors, and helping organize a charity event to provide meals for underprivileged families in the city. As they worked together, Alexander began to see that his power could be used differently, less as a means of control, more as a tool to support and uplift others. One afternoon, a local school requested a workshop for students interested in culinary arts. Maria agreed, and Alexander accompanied her, observing her natural ability to inspire young people. The students, some from disadvantaged backgrounds, were captivated by her stories of perseverance and creativity. Seeing Maria's influence in action, Alexander felt a deep shift in perspective. He understood for the first time that leadership and success were not defined by fear or authority, but by nurturing talent and creating opportunities for others. As months passed, the cafe became a community cornerstone. Regulars, new visitors, and even former skeptics admired Maria's dedication and the positive environment she had cultivated. Alexander continued to learn, humbling himself in ways that had been unimaginable when he first walked into the cafe. He began donating a portion of his wealth to support the cafe's outreach programs, including culinary scholarships for promising students. Amid the growing success, challenges still arose. A rival cafe chain attempted to open nearby, hoping to siphon away customers. Maria responded not with confrontation, but with innovation, introducing seasonal menus, community events, and baking classes that reinforced the cafe's unique identity. The community rallied behind her, proving that genuine relationships and consistent care outweighed flashy marketing and corporate tactics. Through all these events, the bond between Maria and Alexander evolved. He was no longer a figure of authority or judgment. He became a collaborator and supporter, learning to respect her expertise and vision. Maria, in turn, maintained her independence and integrity, guiding the growth of the cafe while exemplifying kindness, resilience, and creativity. Together, they demonstrated that success and influence were most meaningful when shared and used to elevate others. Over time, the cafe became more than just a business. It became a symbol of hope and community. Maria and Alexander organized charity events, hosted local artists, and offered free workshops for aspiring bakers from underprivileged neighborhoods. Each initiative reinforced the idea that success is not only measured by personal gain, but by the positive impact one can create for others. One evening, as the cafe quieted and the last customers left, Alexander sat across from Maria, reflecting on everything that had transpired. "I never understood," he admitted quietly, "what real influence meant until I saw it here. Not through money, not through power, but through what you've built." Maria smiled, placing a freshly baked tart on the table. "It's not about what I built," she said softly. "It's about what people build when they're given guidance, opportunity, and a little kindness." Their work together continued to grow. Javier, now a skilled pastry chef, took on more responsibility in the kitchen, mentoring new hires. Thomas, the cafe owner, had transformed from a stressed and struggling businessman into a confident manager who could focus on expansion and community programs. Maria's approach created a ripple effect, influencing everyone involved, including Alexander, who had begun to apply the lessons of empathy, patience, and mentorship to his own life and other ventures. Challenges still arose: competition from large corporations, occasional disagreements among staff, and logistical hurdles. But Maria's vision and Alexander's resources allowed them to face obstacles with resilience. Alexander found himself genuinely enjoying the problem-solving process, discovering that when success was shared, it carried far more satisfaction than solitary achievement ever could. One winter, the cafe organized a citywide charity initiative to provide meals for families in need. Volunteers came from all walks of life, some inspired by Maria's story, others drawn by the cafe's reputation as a place that gave back. Alexander worked alongside them, handing out meals, interacting with families. The cafe's influence continued to expand. Local schools invited Maria to conduct classes regularly, inspiring a new generation of chefs and bakers. Community members frequently praised the welcoming environment she fostered. The media picked up on the story, highlighting not only Maria's talents, but the unexpected partnership with Alexander Drake, the billionaire who had learned humility, generosity, and the value of human connection. In time, Alexander and Maria's collaboration became a model for combining business acumen with social responsibility. Their cafe remained the heart of a community that had grown around it, proving that success measured by kindness, mentorship, and tangible impact could resonate far beyond monetary gains. Alexander, once consumed by ambition and ego, had found purpose in supporting others, while Maria's vision, talent, and integrity had created something lasting and transformative. In the end, the story of Maria and Alexander illustrated a timeless truth. True wealth is not in possessions or power, but in the lives we touch, the kindness we extend, and the opportunities we create for others. Karma, in its most unexpected form, had shown Alexander that influence is most meaningful when used to uplift, and that one act of grace, whether given or received, has the power to reshape a life, inspire a community, and leave a legacy far greater than any fortune. As the lights dimmed over the cafe on a quiet evening, Maria prepared a fresh batch of pastries. Alexander arranged the final details for a new community event, and the city outside continued its relentless pace. Inside, the warmth of human connection and shared purpose lingered, proof that even in a world driven by wealth and ambition, the simplest acts of generosity and resilience could transform lives in ways no one could anticipate.